Good evening. I'm Mike, and this evening we're going to look at the next chapter of Kotter's book, Leading Change. Chapter 7, Empowering Employees for Broad-Based Action. So first, we've had a sense of urgency, developed a guiding coalition, and developed a vision and strategy. And now we've actually communicated that vision. So next we need to empower employees for action. What are some roadblocks? What can get in the way? Of course, when so many systems have been in place for a long time, a lot can get in the way. And there needs to be some continual training and follow-up in order to make sure that employees are actually empowered. They may be on board with change, but there's many things that might be stopping them from doing what they want to do to make those changes. A change to the environment. If the structure is not there, employees can feel powerless. Some of the barriers to empowerment that Kotter mentions, where employees understand the vision, they want to make a difference, but they feel boxed in. They may not have the skills needed to make those changes. There may be a formal structure in place, such as human resource procedures that block changes. Maybe they have management that discourages them from doing things differently. And there may be other things that cause difficulty with enabling them to act, such as resistance. So the idea is to empower a broad base of people to change and take action, to remove the barriers, and to implement that vision. Kotter mentions that there are a few key obstacles that are often seen, and these are structures, skills, systems, and supervisors. So as we mentioned earlier in the chapter, it's the way things are done, the procedures, they can get in the way. Maybe there's not proper training on, okay, now how do we get going about doing this? How are we going to go about doing this from here on? And there might be systems in place which make it more difficult to take the next step. And of course, maybe some supervisors who are cynical or not helpful. Employees may want to make that unique, better quality product, but resources are fragmented. You may have to get permission from this. You may have to leverage that. You may have to wait for something in order to get the process, the chain working to get that better quality products. There may be excuses. We want to change the way things are done, but this structure can't be changed because of all these excuses. And so people might fall short and drop that new vision and not implement it. Middle management might feel stressed, and they may even feel threatened because for decades they've worked a certain way, and they may feel that taking this risk is a risk to their position or maybe a risk to the way things have always been done. Some of the ways that structure can undermine a vision. There's a few points here, but I'll just share a couple with you and I'll let you read the rest. The vision might be to focus on the customer, but there are fragmented resources and different people have responsibility for different products and services. So one department can't really follow through with providing that quality product or service because everything's fragmented. They want to increase productivity to become the low-cost producer. But there are costly procedures and there's programs set in place where to get to this low cost, to become a low-cost producer, you have to change the way things are done. So what happens as a result of this is a lot of frontline managers may actually just give up and revert back to the way they were doing things before. Middle management can be a big resistor to change, especially if they don't know the sense of urgency and they're not dedicated. They don't see the sense in trying to implement a new vision. Kotter mentions about providing a needed training. He says that this is often seen in major re-engineering efforts, where training is provided, but it's not enough. It's not the right kind, or it's not given appropriately, for instance, at the right time. It's just, here's a weekend of training, now change the way you've done things for decades. Employees might want to change, but they may not really understand how to do a task a different way. So if they aren't provided with the follow-ups needed, then they'll just revert back or forget about the training. The behavior, the skills, and the attitudes which are needed for that change need to be emphasized. So this is the new attitude. These are the different behaviors, and these are the skills that we're going to train on. And with training being a critical element, in some cases, to put this vision to work, there needs to be a follow-up, and management needs to mentor and meet people where they are until they're confident and autonomous in fulfilling those tasks and working in a way that will develop a change. As far as aligning systems, Kotter did mention about human resource systems. Things like performance appraisals, the way people are compensated and promoted. Are these and other human resource procedures, are they aligned with the new vision? Or are they doing things in a way that's done in the way in the past to preserve that managerial, bureaucratic environment? So some things might need to be changed within the procedures of human resources, for example. Human resource systems can get in the way, Kotter mentions, for successful transformations to take place. And there needs to be leadership to implement the changes in those systems to fit the new vision. Empowering employees is another key point in this chapter, where supervisors need to let go, perhaps delegate, and empower their employees. Not to be afraid of seeing change, but allowing them to do things differently. The author did mention that there may be some negativity amongst managers, and if there's any kind of disagreement, there needs to be straight talk, honest dialogue about it. That this is the vision, this is the reason why we're moving forward this way, and this is how we need to work together in order to accomplish this. And if they're not on board, one key point, and I'll quote here, it says, guilt, political considerations, and concerns over short-term results stop people all the time from having these honest discussions. There's a fear of, oh, this manager has been here for so long and they're so well respected, but they're not on board with the vision change. So now I'm afraid to have that honest discussion with them that this is what we need to do going forward. However, that's what's needed, because if these key managers are not on board, it's going to be very difficult and there's going to be a lot of resistance. So just that honest dialogue, what's going on, what we need to partner, what we need to work together on. That way employees aren't discouraged and they can go on to the next stage, which is to produce short-term wins, to see that, yes, these changes are producing results, even in the short term. Returning back to a few of the key points of this chapter, empowering people to make those changes happen. We might need to communicate the vision that makes sense, change the structures so that they adapt to that new vision, and align things like personnel systems, human resources, as well as confront any managers who might undercut any efforts for change. In the next chapter, we'll look at generating short-term wins.